All right, guys, holiday travel season. Look, you got my two dads. Holiday travel kicking into high gear with Thanksgiving. A lot of parents are going to be traveling with those kids. Kids are not the best travelers sometimes.
No, they really aren't, as I've learned very quickly. And
let's play a game real quick.
Okay.
Answer each of these questions in one word.
Okay, let's go.
How did your first experience traveling with the baby go?
Horribly.
Well, how was your feeling when all this was going down?
Relief after everything. Well, okay, now, okay, horror.
All right, let's get to Dr. Cheryl Ziegler. She joins us here. She's a child therapist. You work with families. You work with this so much. Greg can't even figure out how to answer a question in one word.
Well,
so.
I've kind of blacked it all out.
Well, you had a pretty bad situation on a plane, but
yeah.
that's pretty common with a 2 or 3 month old child, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think tips for midair travel depend on the age. When we're talking about a 3-month-old, you just definitely want to have that extra clothing, the extra everything, even the plastic bags. Sometimes that's the biggest commodities. Where's the plastic bag?
Yes.
Right? You're like, and you're looking for the stewardess or the airline flight attendant where you need a plastic bag, so you have to have that. Extra clothes for the baby, but for you and for your partner as well. Everybody needs extra clothes, especially up top.
If you get yacked on, you got to be able to change too.
Yes.
Well, a spit-up rag is useful, as we learned very quickly, because we used the blanket,
Yes.
which then had to go in a
Whatever you
plastic
got.
bag from the stewardess. It was a nightmare.
Well, and babies are one thing, but then you get into the older kids, maybe 3, 4, 5-year-old toddlers. There's some managing that has to go on there with the kids to make sure it goes well.
Yeah, with all the ages, there's just a lot of just pre-thinking. You really have to pre-plan. You can't just wing this. So with those older kids, a lot of people are like, oh, just put them on the iPad, right? And I'm like, yeah, but when travel starts, you know, at 9 a.m. and doesn't really end until 4 p.m., that's not going to work the whole time. So you do want to make sure everything's charged. You want to make sure that they've got their favorite things downloaded. But then you also want to save the iPad for actual mid-air time.
I agree.
So, right, I say to my kids sometimes, it doesn't work.
Embarrassment time.
Exactly.
Right?
Like when you're up in the air, then put it on. Up until then, make sure your crayons are all good. Your markers are still working. You've got paper, you've got cards, other things to keep them entertained, because the iPad's not going to work for 7 or 8 hours.
You don't want to give them the highest reward before you need the biggest firepower, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's just like anybody else. We do got to go, but I want to ask you this because obviously well-laid plans, they never always go as planned. When the meltdown does happen, what do you do?
Well, there's a couple of things. Really use the flight attendants. Sometimes that can be helpful. You know, the rule is, or the pilot says, you have to sit down and have them come over and reinforce it. That's a huge tip. But the other thing is just really keep your calm. Right? Understanding, yes, everyone around you, half of them are annoyed and they're giving you stare downs. Just try to ignore that.
Who cares? You're never going to see them again.
Exactly.
I don't care.
Exactly. You've got to have that mindset.
And most importantly, if you're traveling with kids, God bless you.
Yes.
I mean, you're going to need some altar help.
A whole new respect after you actually do it.
Yes.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
So helpful. Always good to have you. This guy, he's got a long road ahead of him.
At least I've had the worst experience first,
That's
hopefully.
true. It doesn't get much worse than that. Let's get over to Sam with your traffic. How's it going, Sam?
Were the noise-canceling headphones for you or for all of the passengers around you? That's what I want to know. Yeah, everybody. Right now, we are following a brand new accident.